Hello and welcome to CyberFOX. Today we're going to be going through the password manager. I want to show you some of the new and cool updates that we've made. So for those of you familiar with our password manager and for those of you just coming in and seeing it for the first time, we're going to show you some of the cool new things and some of the cool new updates that we've made to our password manager. So let's start by visiting the web app. Now for older previous Password Boss customers, you'll know that this used to be a thick client application. It's now all moved into a web app. And if you're seeing this for the first time, this is really cool because now everything's in a web app, so you don't have to worry about installing any applications whatsoever. Just go over to the website and log right in. So let's get going. We'll log right in. We'll put our big master password in. Of course, that should be fairly complex. You can enforce rules on that, 2FA, a number of different options as well to make that as secure as possible. Now, once we're in the password manager, some pretty cool things we can do here. Obviously, we've got the ability to sort, filter, and search, pick our passwords, pull up information, visit our websites. But there's so much more in here. And I'm going to go through each one of these and just talk a little bit about it. But things like the digital wallet and personal info and how you can bring those together in identities and you can share notes and things like that safely and securely and completely encrypted, right? So kind of things that should be super, super sensitive, like secure notes and information and passwords, things that shouldn't be shared in things like Teams chats and stuff like that. This is the way that we'll be able to show you how to do it. So let's start with just taking a review of the basics. Let's look at some passwords. So now you can either sort this list out, you can search for what you want, which is what most I think are going to do. Just kind of start typing what you want, find the password record that you need. From here, context sensitive menu. Makes it real easy to navigate. Do I want to go to that website? Am I at that website and I just want to pull the username and the password in? Do I want to create something else just like this? And a whole bunch of other options, including being able to share this out maybe with my team or a certain individual right from the context menu. Let's go ahead and actually look at the password record. So when we get into the details of it, we can see that it is, we got our URL in there. We also have a foldering system, so we can see like where does this password belong? Does this a particular um, category for this? There's a number of different systems in here, like for categorizing and storing passwords. There are things like tags and there's things like folders, so that we can organize passwords in a way that makes the most sense for us. In this case, I've got some different customer information in here, and so this one happens to belong to this particular client, but I can move this password around as needed. So if I wanted to clone it, move it to another customer, and then change the password, it would be very, very simple to do that. Username and password is captured. You can see it is masked out. You can make that visible. Ooh, that's a terrible one right there. All right, well, let's check that password really quick. Yep, that's what I thought. So we do have a brand new dark web scanning engine that goes out and checks your email accounts and passwords to see if they've showed up in any particular breach list. So you want to make sure that you're keeping those passwords safe, and if they do show up out there, you definitely want to take the time to go out and change those. In this case, this one also has MFA to FA set up on it. So we have our token rotating every 30 seconds. In addition, there's some other really cool things you can do with the password record. So you can add notes to it if there's some special information or something you're supposed to do or a place you should go or anything like that that you'd want somebody to know, especially if you're going to share this record with other people. Or if you just want to remind yourself. Another item I personally really like is things like custom fields. So normally a password manager will fill out the username and the password field on a password record. Well, with Password Manager now, what we can do is I can add other additional fields that might appear on the page and have it autofill those particular fields as well. We've got our tagging system, so we can add tags to this. You can create tags on the fly from here, or you can add a tag that you might already have. It just helps for organization, especially when you get a lot of passwords. Most people are managing just individuals, anywhere from 85 to over 100 individual passwords. When you get into a business scenario, it can go much, much higher than that. So a good way to be able to organize and potentially categorize your passwords can be incredibly helpful when you're looking for things and trying to find stuff and create views of items. You can also set for auto login. So if you want the system, once you land on that page, to go ahead and auto log you in, you can do that as well. Now, another item you can do from here is we can share this. So here's one challenge. A lot of times, um, sharing can be challenging when everyone is not in the same password management system. And so that's one of the things about how Password Boss was designed is it has tendency, right? So it's designed around an MSP, client customer. And so you want to be able to safely and securely. A lot of us as MSPs have client facing passwords we have to deal with, and we keep those internally. But when we have to share back and forth with our customers, it can really present quite the challenge. So this will make it easier for us. I'm going to go ahead and share this out. So we're going to say this is the Asana login, and we're going to go select a group of folks. Now, we could share this with everyone, or we could simply share it with a group. Now, these groups are being managed at basically the higher tenant level, the portal level. We're taking care of like how these groups get in here. So you can bring them in from Active Directory if you wish, or you can create them on the fly, and that way we can create groups of individuals that we can share password records with. You can also share them individually, right? So I could just pick a few folks, add them to the list, and share out with those. In this case, maybe we'll just share this with our account management team, and then we're going to give them a permission. So here we can say either they are a full editor, maybe they need to work on this password as well, so we're going to collaborate, or we just want to give them read access to it. They can see it, they can't change it. Or the one that I personally like is you can make the password invisible, which would disable things like their clipboard so they couldn't copy it. They could, as we saw earlier, auto log in and automatically put the password in. They wouldn't be able to see what it is, and they wouldn't be able to copy and paste it out anywhere so that they could see it. So it makes it just that much more secure. In addition, I can also set how long I want this to be shared for. So if I just wanted to give you a day with this account, potentially a week, a month. Maybe we need to recycle these quite a bit, and I want to make sure I go through my shares. Then I can set a schedule and basically share these out for the time frame. And as soon as the schedule expires, it'll disappear from everybody's vaults. So some pretty cool stuff that you can do with passwords. Now, you also notice that it says at the top here, all profiles. So it is also important to note that this is a split vault system. So what that basically means is there's two sides to the vault. There is a personal side, right? So things that I would use for me personally. Maybe my mortgage login or my banking login or anything that I would normally use, my car auto loan logins. Like everywhere I need to store my own personal passwords to get them out of things like Google Chrome and Edge and some of the other browsers that are out there that can store passwords that are not safe to do so. But the importance of a split vault system is this. You want to be able to separate work from personal. And so we can control the work side of the vault and they control the personal side of the vault. And that way they have a safe space to put their own personal stuff in that you as an MSP or managing person has no access to whatsoever. And then of course you have the business side, which you absolutely have full control over. So it's just a great way to have something that everybody can use and trust. Keep that separation of, the IT people cannot see our passwords, and of course, we can only see stuff that's been shared or given to us, from a business standpoint. So it's really, really, really important. Now, let's explore some of the other options we've got here. So we've got a digital wallet, and this is real easy. It's just for storing credit card information. So we can put all of our card types in here, banks, issue dates, security codes, pins if we need to, additional notes, tags, all that stuff like that that we were looking at in our password record kind of carries over into our digital wallet. We can also share these as well. So the sharing extends beyond just sharing maybe a username and a password. Every object here from our digital wallets to identities and notes and things like that, these things are all shareable, right? So if I need to, I can share more than I have a safe space to put this really, really important information into. We've also got our personal info. And basically, this is really nice because we can start to add a number of different items to this, right? So we can put in addresses that we want to keep safe and secure, names, phone numbers, companies, email addresses, things like that, where we want to add different pieces of information that we would like to keep safe and encrypted and that nobody else has access to. And when these now also, when you add these items, they can be incorporated into identities. So when we add email addresses, name, contact phone numbers, all those things like that, um, we can now pull that data into what we call an identity. And I can use different components from different pieces of different identities to create maybe a unique identity. For example, I travel for work. I have a corporate credit card. So technically it's my name, my email address, but it's the office's address and zip code, right? So anytime I do that, not my own personal address and zip code. And so that's kind of a pain sometimes when, a lot of systems that do autofill, it's, just pulls your personal profile or pulls your business profile. But what if I need to blend those two things together? That can become a real challenge. And so here we have the ability to create your own identities. Secure notes is great too because we can put, again, the kind of things that we want to keep safe and secure in here and make sure that, obviously no prying eyes. Most importantly, though, is if I need to, is I can share this. So anytime we need to share any sensitive information, and it's really surprising, there's so much information we would not want to expose, like insurance account numbers or tax ID numbers, or maybe it's an accountant firm and they need to share social security numbers. Most places don't have a safe and secure encrypted method to make sure that that happens without any security concerns. But this gives you the opportunity to do that. So if I wanted to share something that was really, really sensitive, I have a platform and a method and a safe and secure encrypted way to do that. So our Share Center is an overview of what's being shared with us. What am I sharing out? So right now I don't have any invitations for anything, but I do have some shares that were shared with me. So I want to go in and sort of check those out and take a quick look and see what they are. Now, if I go in drill down a little further, I can see that that's the password being shared with me. If there was more passwords in this, we'd have a whole list of items. We can see everything in each share, who the share owners are, what my level of permissions on the share are, and what it is that is exactly being shared with me. By the way, these also show up here in your profile. So when you look at the password list, let's go to Dado. You can see that I may have one here that's my own personally, but then you've got this one right here letting me know that this particular one was shared with me. So this is coming from somebody else. Since I have full permissions on it, I could edit this password, change it, update this record if I need to, but they could hide it from me if they wanted to. All right, let's talk a little bit about emergency access. This is really nice. And it's unfortunate happens, if something happens and you don't log into your vault within the specified time frame, we can send this information to an emergency contact to get them access to be able to open the vault and get to all of the information that is available there. You can also set whether or not this is on the business side or just the personal side, or can they do both of those potentially? Then I want to take a quick peek at the security dashboard. This is just a really nice overview of where you're at with sort of like an overall security kind of gamification. Get people, really focused on using it and using it to the best of their ability and trying to make this as secure as they possibly can. So we've got the ability to look at our security score trend. We can see kind of how things are going, a little down, a little up, not too bad. Our password problems, like we got one compromised password. We saw that one earlier. But I do have some duplicates in there, and I do have some weak passwords, probably should address those, and some old stuff. And we can drill down and take a look and see exactly which passwords that it's talking about. So our compromised password, yep, that's the one that was in the list. How many duplicates do we have? These ones probably should be updated, right? Now we can kind of ignore those. We can try to update those. We'll at least get you to the site, log you in, and then when you do the new password setup, then we'll record and save and overwrite so that you have the new password recorded in here. So we'll try to help you with as many of those steps as we possibly can, right? And then of course we've got our dark web scanning, which is going and checking as well. So let's check our security scan. And then right now, no security breaches found on this particular email address, but I can, I'm sure I can check a few others and it probably isn't going to turn out well. You can also set these in the settings and add the email addresses you want it to scan. So if you have more than one email address, you got a work address and a couple personal ones. Oh, I know we all have probably 4 or 5 emails these days. We can actually add all of those email addresses and then this will continuously go out and check those email addresses. As we're adding new email addresses to the system, it will automatically go check those email addresses to see if there's a potential breach. Also, same with passwords. When we're adding passwords to the system, it can go out there and check and see if the password's been in a breach. Now, really quickly, let's do this. Let's go take a look at some of our settings. Just to show you, there's a lot of configuration within the tool. So we can see there is our security information. We can set our login and log out, our timeout period. So I want to log out after 10 minutes. Obviously, never is an option. Some folks have asked for it, but obviously that's not recommended. So, you want to set that as low as you can tolerate to make sure that you're safe as possible. Part of the reason to have this and have your master password is if somebody were to compromise the machine, the password manager is locked. With your browser style passwords, that's not the case. If they're in your machine, they've got all your Chrome passwords, all of your Edge passwords, like have access to all that stuff. So in this case, the password manager will be locked. It has a separate password, ideally than your actual login to your machine, and that way you can keep your passwords nice and safe. One of the other cool features is the recovery code. So there was a time when if you lost or forgot your master password and it was reset, it would lose the entire vault. And that is no longer the case. So once you create your master password and you sign into your vault for the first time, we're going to generate recovery codes. Those recovery codes are going to allow you to recover all of your passwords and set a new master password. That is a really, really great option. So in case we're on vacation for a couple weeks, we get a little forgetful, we've got the ability that if we did forget our password, we can get back in and recover all of our data with that recovery code, which is really, really cool. 2FA setup in here as well. We can set our dark web scanning, which addresses do we want it to run on. Right now I'm just running my primary, but I could add all of my addresses, tell it to go ahead and scan those, and then notify me if any of those are in a particular breach. Do I want to turn things on like autofill? Do I want the system to prompt me? It's sort of like plug-in configurations and conveniences to make the system behave the way that you want. So it can do all the pop-ups that you want, or if you just want it to be quiet and set things yourself as you go along, you can do that as well. This is really cool. It's like, again, sometimes it's a lot easier to put things, and some of us are super highly organized, especially in, the MSP, we've got multiple customers. This is a great way to sort and organize and get those passwords into specific folders so that they're easier to find and locate, and everything's sort of tidy and organized. We can also see a list of all of the devices and where we're being signed in. So every time, that's the level of security, every time you log into your password manager on a different browser, even on the same machine, it's going to ask you to verify it. And at any time, you can delete any of these. So if you think that any one of these potentially was compromised or an issue, you can go ahead and delete those and stop. And you'd have to revalidate to get back in from that particular device. If there's particular sites that you want to disable the software from sort of picking up and doing anything with, then you can do a particular page or a entire domain. So if you don't want us to try to autofill or request or ask if you want to save a password, you can completely disable us for whole certain sections. And the same with domain rules. So if you want to set up equivalent domains to allow logins across multiple domains, I use the same passwords, but the domains are different. We can add those and correlate those together. You can build out your own tagging system, and you can even build your own custom views. So when it comes to managing, hundreds, if not sometimes, several hundred or even thousands of passwords, you just really need a way to sort and organize and be able to categorize and organize all of those potential passwords. We're all managing a lot of these every day. We need to keep them as safe as we possibly can. So we hope you like that. It's some pretty cool stuff we're really proud of. Super happy to have all this now in a web app, make it super easy to access no matter where you are. And we look forward to showing you more. So if you have any questions, if you got some interest, you want to check it out, just give us a shout and we'll get you a demo and we'd love to see you over at CyberFOX.